Today, I'd like to discuss the idea of simply what what a serial killer could endure in everyday life. What they could endure leading up to the murders, and what they could endure, and what the police could find better, and maybe find clues leading up to the murders where they could maybe intervene and stop this from happening. First of all, I'd like to say murderers all have similar mental capacities, meaning most murderers suffer from grave emotional disorders known as antisocial personalities, not meaning they don't talk or they don't socialize, meaning their means of socialization and means of everyday hobbies and everyday life are actually socially denied and socially unacceptable in our social everyday life. You may find some serial killers are deeply involved in graphic and violent pornography. You may find they at a young age maybe were very violent towards animals. They were deeply involved in torture of animals. Killing the animal ultimately is what they did. They did in every occasion. You look at Ted Bundy, he did this at a young age. He would brag about being a frog catcher and brag about how he was fascinated with himself on how great he was at catching the frog and killing the frogs. That to him was just something that he prided himself with. So when you pride yourself with socially unacceptable things, and you feel not guilt or remorse from these socially unacceptable practices, but you feel joy and a sense of confidence or a sense of greatness, a sense of superiority. They ultimately feel superior from the average human. They ultimately there's lots of things that lead up to this that could be intervened throughout the life of a serial killer. And I really want to stress the idea that people who have this disorder, antisocial personality, their psychopathic tendencies do not by any means mean this person is a failure, or mean this person is going to be a serial killer even. Mostly what I'm trying to say is that this person has a very critiqued mind where they're capable of very horrific acts, very sick and very scary acts, which would ultimately leave them feeling a feeling of joy, euphoric, maybe even sexual orgasms. And it starts early on in life. You might find a child who is out just killing insects for pleasure, though. They're pulling the heads off an ant, watching the ant how it's running around with no head for however long, and they're ultimately seemingly finding joy in these acts, which are not socially acceptable, But like I said, it does not mean this person's a failure. This person could very, very well gravitate towards a life of being a doctor, a very well, good doctor, because this person does not feel uh, connected with people in a way that most people do. They don't find a loving connection, which would allow some people who don't have this disorder. They could feel inside, no, I can't tell this patient this because it's going to hurt him. Whereas this person with this disorder could say, I have to tell them because it will hurt them, but it will ultimately allow them to accept the problems that they're going to face and allow them to, in the end, find the right help, and it could save their life. So what I'm saying is, like, these people actually could be superiority, like, could be more superior to than, rather than not. They'd be brilliant soldiers if they were to be enlisted in the military. Great soldiers, because they find joy in finding, hunting, and ultimately killing the terrorist who could be responsible for killing thousands of Canadians or Americans. So we look at it from different perspectives, and we can see how these things could be good or bad. See, if you start at a young age hurting small animals, that right there is not good. Okay, that's a sign that this person's gravitating towards hurting something that's personal, towards people, and they're finding joy in this harming of the animal, which is very much a great connection with its owner, and it would just devastate the owner to find their dog with its head cut off. And this person is maybe even spying, watching the results and seeing how this all manifests out, and they're seeing the ultimate end game, and they're seeing this broken person because they find their dog dead with no head, and this person finds joy in that, and that's not socially acceptable in today's modern society. See, I carry this specific disorder. I do. I don't feel guilt, remorse, or shame for anybody that I've hurt, because I feel if I hurt them, they were in my life for a reason, and if I hurt them, it was ultimately for a reason, that they put themselves in that particular spot to get hurt. Knowing without a doubt that there's something wrong with me. I carry this antisocial personality, but I love my family, and I've hurt a lot of people for my family, or I've intervened and hurt somebody that I knew was going to hurt my family member. And that's what separates me, I think, from most serial killer. I'm not a serial killer, okay? I've done things, yes. I've hurt people very badly. I've done robberies. I've stolen vehicles. I've gotten away with a lot, okay? The police were never able to crack down on me. They have in the past, because I've used to drink a lot of alcohol. And when you drink alcohol, you're not there. You're not present. And you're not thinking about the big picture. You're not planning right. See, so I've gotten caught selling drugs, and I've gotten caught doing robberies, breaking into places, things like this. And I'm not proud of that. I'm not proud of that at all. But I don't feel guilt or remorse for the people that got hurt along those ways, because I feel those people that got hurt put themselves in the position to get hurt, knowing how I am and how I would react, knowing I don't feel these feelings that they feel. They shouldn't have gotten involved with me. When it comes to interpersonal relationships with people, I have a relationship with my family members, my close family members, the ones that have gotten to know me and came close with me, and I would never hurt them, but I would hurt somebody that would hurt them. Do you know what I mean? For instance, if somebody was gonna hurt my sister and I knew about this, I would plan around this person and I would get involved with them before they could hurt my sister, and I would drastically hurt them to the point where I would be torturing them, making them beg for their life in order for my sister to not have to go through pain. See, like, and another thing I'm applying with the military. I've been with the military. I've had sergeants tell me, as private, you are a natural born killer. You are put on this earth for one reason only, that's to kill terrorists. That's what I was told at a fairly young age of my life. So, see, we're not failures because we lack the ability to feel certain things. We're not. What makes us a failure is when we get intertwined with these emotions and feelings to the point where we start to harm innocent people all the time, and we get off on that. That's not okay. That's when things are getting to the extreme. You understand? So, see, I'm just trying to demonstrate to you guys what it's like to be a person of this nature. I constantly have this overwhelming feeling of rejection and feeling of loss or abandonment, mainly abandonment. I don't want to be abandoned. I think that stems back to my childhood. Not going to get into it, but this overwhelming feeling of abandonment just sometimes controls my life, and I have a hard time dealing with it. But talking about these things help too. I'd like to thank everybody for listening, and take care of yourselves. Peace out.